Hello, good morning from Keri at New Shelves Books for Free Advice Friday. We're here to talk about book marketing, publishing, and everything to do with the business of being an author. And we're glad that you joined us. And you can join us live if you like here at newshelves.com/FAF. And we are going to answer your questions live. The replay does go up on YouTube. So if you're new, I had some new people this week email me and say, hey, it plays at 4 a.m. my time. Where can I get a replay? And you can always find our replays over on our YouTube channel. It's simply youtube.com/New Shelves Books. We typically get those replays up on Monday. So if you are a subscriber, you'll get notification of our new videos going up. So you can feel free to participate even if you can't join us live. So with that, we've got some questions that were emailed in, and we also have some questions starting to populate in the chat. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. The first question we have here is about Amazon ads. So I'm traditionally published in an anthology. Can I buy Amazon ads for the book, or does the publisher alone have that ability? So this is actually a fun one. Last year, Amazon opened up ads, Amazon advertising through Author Central. So Author Central is a free platform that anyone with a book published on Amazon can claim a free Author Central account. And I recommend that you do. If you've got a book published, if it shows up on Amazon, no matter if you're self-published, hybrid, if you're with an anthology, you can go claim an Author Central profile. When you do that, you claim it. And through the Author Central profile on the Reports and Marketing tab, you have access to the Amazon Ads console. And you can run ads for any books that you have claimed in your Author Central profile as yours. So you could run ads for your anthology. Something to keep in mind when running ads for an anthology is just that you're probably not getting much back as far as monetary gains there. Keeping in mind it's an anthology, if you're getting royalties are probably very small. So just keep in mind what you're putting into it and what your goals are. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you just need this anthology to get out more because it's building your name and your brand, and that's your goal. So you're willing to invest some money into that, even though you won't see it back in royalties. That's perfectly fine. And by all means, run those ads. But if you are looking at ROI in terms of dollars and cents, and am I getting the money back in royalties I'm putting into Amazon ads, that is something that you actually have to work at when you are the publisher, or when you're the single author. So when you're working with an anthology, that's going to be much harder. So all of that to say, yes, you can run ads for the book if it's your book. The publisher can also run ads, but you as the author can run ads. And it's just a matter of, is it worth it? Something else you may consider that can be very low budget is Facebook ads. You can run Facebook ads for as little as $1 a day and kind of have a steady and strong presence tied to your Facebook business profile. So that's another option as well if you wanted to advertise a trilogy. Or I'm sorry, not a trilogy, an anthology. I can get my words right today. All right. I think you said authors should only give away the first book in a series. Can I also use the KDP free days for other books? And if so, when? So I typically, Lawrence, only when I have a series of books, let's say we have 3 books up on Kindle Unlimited in a series, I typically recommend that you would advertise the first book in series free when you can use those Kindle Unlimited free days. So for those of you who do not know, if your book is up on Kindle Unlimited, not just on Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, then you can offer your book for free for up to 5 days during every 90-day contract with Kindle Unlimited. So if you have a series in Kindle Unlimited, I recommend that not every 90 days, honestly, but every so often, twice a year or once a year, you offer your first book in series free. You put it out into newsletters, you promote it. The idea is you're going to give the first book in series away for free and then get read through on the second and third book in series. So you're going to draw new readers into your series, and then you are going and then you're actually going to hopefully make your money back and keep those readers for books 2 and 3. Now, that's one way of doing things if your goal is to increase new readers and make a profit. If your goals are simply, maybe you just really want to build up the reviews for your series and you just need to do that. You can certainly set your entire series to free and market it out. Just keep in mind, if you do that, you are investing in building up your brand and getting people's eyes on it and getting reviews. You are probably not going to make your money back then. You could make more money down the road because, as we know, reviews and things help build social proof. So by giving away the entire series, hopefully getting more read through and more reviews, you may build up your social proof, which helps you sell more books in the future. But it's a different goal from the outset. So that's why I always say you need to have a goal, you need to know what it is, and then you need to strategically work towards that goal. So know that if you are giving away your entire series for free, then your ROI is not going to be monetary right then and there. You're going to take a loss on advertising and hopefully in exchange for reviews and just an overall uptick of the series. So it's a little bit different. Now, would I ever do free days just for the third book or something like that? Not personally. I don't personally see a great value in it. I think if you're giving it away, then anyone who is reading through the series would probably already be buying it. You're giving it away for free. So I personally wouldn't. If you have a standalone book, would I ever give it away for free? Well, sure. If the idea is to get more reviews and that overall uptick I talked about with the series, absolutely. I think there's value in that. So again, it's all about your goals and how a giveaway, a free book through Kindle Unlimited, plays into your process. And for those of you who are not on Kindle Unlimited, you can use the same idea with a discount ebook, discounting at 99 cents or $1.99. So you can still use this strategy overall if you don't have Kindle Unlimited with discount books. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, or if you've got follow-up questions, just drop them in. What days should we run free book giveaways? So I don't think there's necessarily a bad day. However, I typically will run my giveaways, my discounts or my giveaways. I typically run them over a long weekend. So like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is typically the days I try for. Now, there was a time when USA Today bestseller still had a bestseller books list, which is currently on hiatus. We don't know if or when it'll ever come back. But when USA Today bestseller was still on the table, they actually ran their sales from Sunday to Sunday. So you may have heard me say in the past, if you're trying to hit a bestseller list, you know, get it in earlier rather than later, like a Tuesday. So you may have heard me say that, but that bestseller list is no longer on the table. So that's not necessarily a strategy that I would aim for at the moment. I would go for kind of that long weekend where people might see it more. No matter what kind of email you're sending out, stats show us that sending emails out on Mondays are the worst day. People are coming back to work or they're busy, school's picking back up. So Mondays historically are the worst day to send an email with open rates. So I would not run a promo specifically on Monday. Could be the tail end of your promo, but I wouldn't be signing up for things on a Monday typically. All right. Does it make sense to charge more for books on IngramSpark than they are on KDP to cover store profit margins and returns? I get this question a lot, and I'm going to give you advice that a lot of authors don't like. Technically, I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is my understanding from what I have read. If you have questions for a lawyer or that are illegal, please go find a lawyer. There, I've covered myself. So there's actually a law in place about upcharging different wholesalers, and it's technically not allowed, you guys. Like there was actually a ruling that said that you cannot charge different wholesalers different prices. Now, retailers may choose to discount at different prices, but actually selling your book or your product to different wholesalers at different prices is not allowed because of the fair market. And so if you are setting a retail price at IngramSpark and a different retail price at KDP, you're actually showing KDP or Amazon favor. And that is not allowed. It was ruled by Supreme Court several years ago. I'd have to look up the case. It's been a little while, but essentially it's not allowed. No, does that mean if you do it that you're going to be slapped with a lawsuit right away? No. However, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I tend to say you should follow the law. And also, you're giving Amazon a competitive edge. And don't think for a second that IngramSpark and KDP don't have systems that compare prices, or that if you're asking a retailer to carry your book, that they don't check your book out on Amazon and they will see that the book's selling for less on Amazon. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to go, well, why would we carry your book? They can get it cheaper on Amazon. So no one's going to buy it in our store. So that is not a good strategy. I understand that you make less when you do a full trade discount. I get it, but that is part of the business. So it's either pricing your book a little higher on KDP so it matches IngramSpark, or realizing you're simply going to take less of a profit on IngramSpark if you set your book for a full trade discount to appeal to retail stores. Now, keep in mind that if you're print on demand, the typical profit of a book on IngramSpark for a publisher. So if you're self-published, this would be you. But if you are hybrid published, this is not you. So the typical income that a publisher makes using print on demand on IngramSpark when they have their book set for a full retail discount, which is 55% at IngramSpark, their profit is typically $1 average, $3 on the high side. So if you're making $1 or more, you're actually right in line with what's normal. And if you're making $3, you're actually doing really good. So keep that in mind with your pricing. But again, I don't recommend this. Retailers will absolutely notice, and then you're not going to make friends. And I don't believe it's on the right side of the law, so I would not do it for that reason either. And if you want me to dig up that case and that exact information, just email me and I will find that for you. Like I said, it's probably been a year or so since I had the name of it and everything. It's not a steel trap anymore. It's like a sieve sometimes. A sieve. There we go. All right. Let's see. When do you suggest doing Amazon ads? How long do you run it and how much does it cost? I do not recommend running Amazon ads until you have a minimum of 15 reviews on your book. The reason why is because data shows us that people are more likely to buy a book when there are reviews on a book. And so your sale conversions will actually go up higher when you have reviews on a book. Otherwise, you can often just be throwing your money away on your ads, and also they don't convert as well. So people are visiting your page, but they're not buying. And then you know what happens? It's more likely that Amazon algorithms will go, people are visiting this page, but they're not buying. Maybe we shouldn't show it anymore. Maybe this is not what customers want. And so it can actually hurt you in the long term with your algorithms. So I recommend you start running ads when you have a minimum of 15 reviews on your book for Amazon. How long do you run them? That depends. I usually start with increments of 2 weeks and build up. I have clients that have had books or ads running for years and they still perform really well. So it's one of those things. There's no one size fits all. It is something you do have to be fairly hands-on with. But until you've got 15 reviews, my policy here at New Shelves is we will not run an ad campaign until you have 15 reviews, because I've seen what can happen when you don't. Now, that doesn't mean that no one's going to sell books if they have less than 15 reviews. However, I do believe the conversion and the algorithms really show that it's best to have those reviews. And many, many people in the industry would agree with me on that one. Oh, my opinion on box sets, and should box sets be used in the KDP free or the 5-day discount system? So same answer there, Lawrence. Box sets can be great. Again, the idea of a box set is that if someone buys a ebook box set, especially in a series, they're going to get it for a little bit less than if they had individual books. So if you have individual books priced at $5 a piece, you would have your box set of 3 books priced at $9.99 or $12. So you're still making a profit, you're getting guaranteed sales, and then the reader, if they know they like it, are going to get discount. It's going to be cheaper than if they bought those books individually. So box sets can be great for that, especially if you do run a lot of price promotions, because if you get someone in first in series for free, and then you have a box set for book 2, 3, and 4, and it's discounted, chances are you'll probably get more sales there. Just keep in mind that when doing box sets, it's like starting from scratch. Your reviews start from scratch. Your ads are separate. So you really do have to market your box set almost like a whole new book. So that's what I would say there. As far as giving away a box set, sure, but what are you trying to get out of it? Once again, you're not building up your main sales pages. It's just the box set sales page, which can be beneficial if you're seeing a lot of sales there afterwards, but you're not likely to earn on more books if you're giving away a whole box set. So if you do it with an intention. You may want to do like a discount, something like that. But again, it's all about your goal and your intention and where you're hoping for ROI. Do you recommend running Amazon ads for backlist books? I have 70+ reviews on each. Absolutely, I do. Here's the thing about backlist books. Here's the thing about books that people really don't realize is when I see sales, a lot of the sales, of course, we see a rush of sales for a book when it first launches, because that just makes sense. You've promoted, you've hyped it. But then after that initial wave of launch, I typically see more sales on books in years 2 and 3 than any other time in a book's life cycle of typically 10 years. And the reason why is because after that first year, you've built up reviews, you've built up a reputation. So if you market the books in years 2 and 3 and forward, you have a really great chance of sales. So as long as those backlist books are still relevant. If this is a psychiatry book that was written in 2010, it's probably not as relevant anymore, and that's going to be harder to sell. But if this is a fiction title, if this is something that's still on trend, absolutely, I would consider running ads, because we know there's millions of books on Amazon. If you are not marketing your book, it's probably not being seen. And Amazon ads are a fairly easy way to market your book. And I know, say it with me, if your book can't be seen, it can't be bought. So I would absolutely recommend running Amazon ads or Facebook ads for a backlist book, because if not, you're possibly leaving a lot of money on the table. At what point in the publishing process do I apply for a PCIP block? So if you're getting a PCIP block, which is a publisher's catalog and publication block, this is a cataloging block that's used for libraries and librarians to catalog you into this system. If you are applying for one of these, you will need your full synopsis. You will need your actual copyright and book files and your cover file as well, because there are questions about the book that pertain to that. So you at very minimum need to have, whether it be in Word, PDF, don't care, but you need to have the copyright page. You need to know the cover and the title, because it goes by title. You have to go by author name, subtitle, series. They have a series of questions that you need to have the answers to. So typically this is a little bit later on. Keep in mind, once you get the PCIP block, it does need to go on the copyright page of your book. So not at the very end, you still are going to have to insert it into your interior file, but not when you just finished your Word document and you're sending it to an editor. It's somewhere in between those two. And again, that depends on your publishing timeline and your schedule, but it's typically going to be like once you get your first draft of your interior and you have your cover, that's typically where I see that happen, is right in between there. So while you're proofing your interior, you know that you're going to add in the PCIP block. If you do work with Cassidy cataloging, they get you that PCIP block quickly. I mean, you'll have it in a couple of days and can insert it right in. Yeah, close to the last step with your PCIP. I mean, you want your designer to still be open to inserting it, but you don't want to do it so early that you end up changing the title. That is a pain. It is a pain. Don't do it. So you definitely want to have most of your details pretty confirmed before you go for that PCIP plot. If a Goodreads reader writes a review, does that end up on Amazon in some way? Nope, sure doesn't. If a Goodreads reader also posts their book or their review on Amazon, that will show up. So they can just copy and paste the same review on multiple platforms, but no, it doesn't just segue over. So a Goodreads review is on Goodreads, a Amazon review is on Amazon. They don't cross over in that way, even though Amazon does own Goodreads. So not like that. And then how likely is it that a Goodreads giveaway winner will write a review? Here's the thing. When we talk about Goodreads giveaway, the biggest value of the Goodreads giveaway, in my opinion, when you do it before the book launches, is exposure. You get a lot of people seeing the book. You have people entering to win the book. And when they enter to win a giveaway on Goodreads, they have to put the book on their to-read shelf. And when they do that, if your book's not out yet, when your book comes out, which hopefully is during or after the giveaway, when your book comes out, they will get a notification saying, hey, a book on your to-read shelf is now available. Depending on how they have their notifications set up, that can just notify them directly in Goodreads, or it may even send them an email with your buy links, which is the main value there. As far as who will review it, I find that varies very widely. I would say that if you send out Goodreads copies for review, expect to have maybe 10% actually leave a review. Sometimes you get lucky and you get more than that, but about 10% I would say is average for people actually leaving a review after they win a review copy. I will say I have seen those odds be more favorable when, if you are doing a Goodreads giveaway, you give away physical copies and you write a personal note and you slip it in there. Thanks so much for entering this giveaway. I'm excited for you to read the book, and I'm also excited to leave your review. Thanks so much, because then they feel like you personally are looking, and you are, and they're more likely to actually respond to that. So I say, if you're doing a Goodreads giveaway for physical books, consider just jotting a personal note that is thanking them and telling them you're excited about seeing what they thought of the book. Yes, I got this email. So starting in March, Mailchimp's free account will only be good for up to 500 people. Previously, it was 1,000. Before that, it was even more. So they keep backing down. But so now starting in March, Mailchimp's free account is only good for up to 500 people. If you have over 500, you won't be able to send e-blast without upgrading to the $26.50 a month package. So that also depends on how many people you have on your Mailchimp account. I pay much more than that. However, I have somewhere around 20 or 30,000 on my mailing list. So I pay much more than that. So just know that you're paying based on how many people you have on your mailing list. But given that information, do you have any other email companies that you recommend, like Mailerlite, Constant Contact? Here is the thing. Yes, absolutely. Look into Mailerlite, look into Constant Contact, and see what their pricing is right now. However, it's not uncommon that when one mailing system ups their price or lowers their minimum number, it's not unusual to see the other mailing companies follow in a couple of weeks to months. They tend to see it as permission, as like, oh, well, the competition's doing it, we can probably do it. So just keep that in mind. It depends on how often you use this system. Like Mailchimp, I'm just going to say Mailchimp, for example. How often do you use Mailchimp? How many people do you have on this list? Are you over 500 already, or are you still below? If you're still below, I honestly wouldn't worry about it yet. If you are above 500, by how much? couple hundred? Are you at 800? Or are you at like 503? Can you delete inactive people off of your user list? But also, I think it's important to think about how many places you have it integrated into. How much work would it be to set up a new mailing system? Do you have an automatic email system already in place where you're sending welcome emails and follow-up emails? Is it connected to BookFunnel? Is it connected to your website and where else? Because I do think that's something that you should consider as well, is how much work would it be for you to shift over to Mailerlite or Constant Contact? And is it worth it for you? Can you switch it over on your own? Are you not as tech savvy and you would have to pay a website person to switch it over? How much is that going to cost you? Because if it costs you $300 to get someone to help you switch it over, well, I mean, that's almost a year on Mailchimp. What if at that point, Mailerlite or Constant Contact then charges more? So I think you need to do some price research about what pricing is currently at Mailerlite and Constant Contact. I couldn't tell you because it does change pretty often. And so what their prices are, what their free account entails, and then if it's worth it for you personally to switch over. But Mailerlite and Constant Contact, I've used both of them with clients. They both have good reputations. So it's really a personal decision, again, based on the things I mentioned after that. I knew this was gonna come up. So the whole thing at Findaway Voices, I did release a video last week. I think it was last week. I don't know, guys. The days run together. I think I released it last Friday. A video on Findaway Voices and the clause in their contract that states that if you upload files to Findaway Voices and you agree to their distribution terms, there is a clause that says that you are agreeing for Findaway Voices to license your audio files to Apple for machine learning. And yes, that means artificial intelligence for their AI narration and tools and things like that. So let's clear the air first, because I got some angry emails saying that I should not be against AI narration and things like that. And let me be very clear, I'm not against AI narrated audiobooks. I understand that they can be very cost efficient and that some people are really interested in that. And that is fine with me. I think AI narration, if done well, I've listened to the newer Apple audiobooks and the AI narration are pretty darn good. And I've said that publicly, but here's the thing I'm not okay with is that this piece of the contract, by the way, it's just blown up recently. Someone realized it, saw it, I don't know, ended up on TikTok kind of going viral. But this update in the contract is from September 7th of 2022. And it wasn't something that was really publicly announced. There were updated terms, of course. So you logged into your account. They said, hey, we have some updated terms. We're doing this, this, and this. Do you agree? And most people were like, yeah, I agree. So that's kind of what happened. People were like, yeah, absolutely, I agree. And then there's this clause in there saying, hey, we're using your audio files and we're going to use them for machine learning and AI, and we're licensing them to Apple. And here is the problem that I personally see with this. Number one, those audio files are human narrators, because up until recently, that's all you could upload to Findaway Voices was human narrators. So human narrators were put there, their files were uploaded. Now let's be clear, human narrators were paid for their work on a book. They sold their voice for the specific work to a publisher. The publisher or the author, if it's an indie publisher, uploaded to Findaway Voices for distribution. So the publisher is the one who agreed to this licensing contract, not the voice artist, not the narrator whose voice is being used for AI. That is one of the biggest problems I have with this, is that the narrator, the voice artist, had no say in this. They gave their voice, their files for a audiobook, and now their voice is being used to work on Apple's narration and AI. And this is a big problem because, number one, the publisher didn't have the rights to actually agree to that. I can see some narrators trying to come after authors for this, for agreeing to something that was not in their contract. Number one. Number two, I think it's really sneaky because you know what? A lot of voice artists who are interested in licensing their voice to AI and narration, they're being paid for it. They're not being paid extra for this. Now, we can assume that Findaway Voices, when licensing an audiobook, is going to get paid something, right? If they're licensing something, they're probably getting paid. But neither the publisher who paid for that narration, nor the voice artist who's it's actually their voice is being paid for this. And it was done kind of sneaky. That's my problem here. I think that this is frustrating. I understand why narrators are upset. And honestly, I do think that we should all send in our emails and say, you know, according to the clause, it does say that you can email in and that you can revoke the right to this licensing. I encourage everyone with an audiobook up on Findaway Voices to do that. If you go to New Shelves, there is a blog. I can pull it up. There's a blog with like a template letter that you can use and do that. And they are responding. I've had a couple of people who have sent in this letter who Apple or Findaway Voices is responding and saying we've submitted for those rights to be removed. Now, I did ask someone and I said, hey, they just said they submitted. They didn't say how soon it would happen or anything like that. So I did encourage people to kind of respond back with, thank you for submitting that, you know, revoking the rights, but how long will it take? And who has already had these files and that kind of information? Because I think that's important to have. So I think this is very frustrating. And I do think that Findaway should, this was not done well, in my opinion. If people had a choice to opt in, if narrators had a choice to opt in, I think that's very different. But I do think that it's not totally on the up and up. And if you self-narrated your book, your voice is now being used to train AI. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're using your voice as the AI narrator, but it does mean it's using your inflection, it's learning from your emotion, which is yours. And so that's the problem I personally have with it. And I'm not happy with Findaway Voices for that. I hope that they do better. I do think we're going to see more and more of this. And we've seen this, right? Like lawyers have gotten involved, copyright, all sorts of stuff. We've seen it with art as far as AI art and different things like that. I think that's kind of what's happening here. But I do think it was a little sneaky for Findaway Voices to put this in where a publisher is agreeing to give away the licensing of a narrator's voice. And so that's that. You certainly can do what you want, but if you have a book on Findaway Voices, I think you should look into it. And if you'd like to revoke that option, then you can email them. It's a very quick email. Again, I dropped the link to the blog. I wrote about it right in the chat. If you're watching a replay or on Facebook, you can simply go to newshelves.com, go to the blog. It's the first one up there, and it's all about Findaway Voices. So now, should you still use Findaway Voices? That's something that a lot of people are asking. I personally do think that Findaway Voices overall as a company has done a lot of great things for indie authors. I think they give a lot of opportunity for indie authors, and I will still use them, but I do hope that they do better. I hope that they change this, and I hope that they do better. But ACX at the moment is not doing AI narration that I'm aware of. So some people are just doing ACX exclusive, which is Amazon's arm of the audiobook market. But then you're exclusive with Amazon and you're feeding into that machine. So I think, again, you've got to kind of weigh your own personal pros and cons and decide what's best for you. But if you are using Findaway Voices, I would have it on file that you do not agree and revoke all machine learning rights under their contract, which you can do, and you just email it in and it should go on your file. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Do you have clients who've been successful growing their audience using bookclub.com? So yes and no. I have clients who've been up on bookclub.com and they have gotten long-term benefit as far as exposure. I can't say I've had clients on there who are like, wow, I've just been carried in so many book clubs. And it's kind of hard to say because bookclub.com is a site that's supposed to help expose you to book clubs. And sometimes those book clubs will pick it up and they will contact you. But a lot of times if they pick it up, you don't really know. So it's one of those things you're investing in without necessarily knowing the exact ROI of it. So if you've got the money to spend, you're saying that Dart Frog offers a 3-month indie author corner promo for $850. So if you've got $850 to kind of put it in and you think your book would do really well in a book club, sure. Just know that it's going to be hard to actually track the actual sales unless you're not doing anything else. So it's one of those things that can be a piece of a bigger marketing plan. But once again, it goes back to your budget. I have clients who have 20 grand to spend on a book launch. And I have clients that have 200 to spend on a book launch. So you have to kind of look at your budget and see if that is your best option. If you told me, look, I've got $800 to either spend on bookclub.com or on ads to Amazon and Facebook, I would tell you to run and go get those ads, because that way you can actually see and control more of your, you can see and control that more, and you can actually see how it's working and something you can benefit from long term. But if you tell me, hey, I want to throw everything at this and I've got a big spot of money and I want to throw everything at it, and your book looks like it's good for a book club, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a scam. I just think you need to look and see where your goals and your budget need to go and see if that is going to benefit you in a way that you hope it does. Teresa, as far as is there a lawsuit situation with Findaway Voices? Only time will tell. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's been out since September. It's really gone viral in the last week or two. Will it end up in a lawsuit? I don't know. I do know that the union that works with voice artists and narrators has gone against Findaway Voices in the past. So in 2018, there's a union that has gone against Findaway Voices to work for fair price per hour. That's how narrators get paid, is price per finish hour. And there are narrators that have absolutely benefited from this. In 2018, the union went against Findaway Voices to come to terms and agreement for fair price per finish hour minimums. And so I don't know if they'll step up again. I don't know if there's going to be a narrator who's got enough money and enough clout to throw a lawsuit at that, or if there's going to be something where they go under a union, or if there's going to be a narrator that goes after the author. I don't know. Only time's going to tell, but I would not be surprised if this does. I wouldn't be surprised if it does go somewhere, but we'll have to watch it and see, and I'll certainly let you know if or when I learn more. Yes. All right, let me see. I know we had a couple more emailed in, and Gretchen did say, I believe she said Constant Contact has also the question about Mailchimp and dropping down the free account to 500 people. Gretchen said that, Mailerlite. So Mailerlite also dropped their free account to 500 free email contacts starting in March. So it sounds like Mailerlite and Mailchimp are going to be pretty much the same thing for that. But check Constant Contact and see what that is as well. All right. An IngramSpark question. I created a hardback picture book on IngramSpark with the focus on library distribution for a picture book. The first book was received and we were not impressed with the color of the pictures. We specified the color 70 option. And so just so you know, the number, the 50 or the 70 has to do with the page weight, not the actual color. So it's either 50-pound or 70-pound paper. So if you did color 70, then that's standard color on 70-pound paper. It's thicker paper. And then we opened a support ticket on the 4th, which was less than a week ago, asking to receive a copy of the book in the premium color version, and haven't gotten response back yet. Well, let me say, I said this to someone else in this week, is that publishing moves slow. There's not a lot of rush in the publishing industry as far as printing, in publishers and agents. The system moves slow. And so not hearing back from them in a week, not even business days and like 6 days is not unusual. You should probably give it a little bit more time, but you can also go into your file choices, your print choices in the book, and you can change it from standard to premium color if it's not published yet. So you can change it to premium color and order a new copy of the book. So just know that the 50 or 70 is your paper weight, and then there's standard or premium color. And the premium color, if what you're looking for, you can change it and order a new copy, or you can wait for IngramSpark, but just know it's going to take a while. You can also go into, sometimes they have a live chat available, but usually it's an email and it will take a little while to get a response there. And can you just start a new book? Well, not necessarily, because you've already used your ISBN. So you can't just start a new book with premium color. You want to work with the existing listing. Slow and steady wins the publishing race. Let's see. Let's see. There you go. Oops. You're welcome. See, when I finish my latest manuscript, tell me how many to query, as it's been quite a while since I've queried a script. And query until you get an offer or until you decide that you're done. There are people who will query for years. There are people who will say, look, I'm going to query as much as I can in 6 months. I'm going to hit every person I think would be a good fit, and then I'll be done. There are people who are like, hey, I have 10 agents I'd really love. I'm going to query those 10 agents. And if I don't get them, I'm going to move on or self-publish. There's no hard and fast numbers. It's one of those things where you do what you do. I do think that if you're going to query, you should look into Query Tracker. You should look into something like Publisher's Lunch, where you can actually see who is buying and selling what books, because then you can see the agents that are selling books and see if they're selling books like yours. That's a good way to find an agent, to find them and querying them. But you got to put a lot out there. And as I just said, it moves slowly. It is not at all unusual to wait 4 months or more to hear from an agent. They get hundreds of emails a day. So the thing about publishing is very often we have very small offices, we have lean staff, and we get a ton of emails everywhere from traditional publishers to hybrid publishers, agents, marketing people like me. It's usually a very lean staff with a lot of emails and contacts. So it can take a long time for agents and people to get back to you, because they're also probably looking through pitches and things. Like, it's not a one size fits all response. So just know it's a process, and how long you query and how many you query is really up to you. But your chances go up the more you query. So do keep that in mind. And what's the best time to self-publish a title this year? Depends on the title. Does it tie into a certain holiday? Is it more of a beach read? Is it a romance? Is it serious? There's so much that goes into the best time to publish, and that a lot depends on the manuscript, the book, how long you need to get ready, what your budget and your timeline is. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. So I can't give a one size fits all answer there, I'm afraid. The turtle does win. That is true, David. All right. Can you query books already self-published? You can, but you're not likely to get a great response. We do have a blog on the New Shelves website from Amy Collins of Talcott Notch, all about trying to pitch a book or query a book that's already been published. And the thing about that is that publishers don't typically want to publish a book that's already been out and about in the marketplace. I'm going to drop a link here in the chat, but you can find this same blog by going to newshelves.com, looking at the blog, and just search agent. It comes up as how do self-published authors get an agent. And it does talk about this a little bit, but for a previously published book to get an agent or to get a publisher interested, it has to sell like this unicorn number of copies, right? It has to be enough sales, thousands, that they're like, okay, there's some meat on the bones here. People want this book, but not so many sales that publishers think, probably most of the sales are already run out. It's run its course. There's no use for us to pick it up and put money and time into it. So it's not very common that that's going to work. You are better off as a self-published author to write something new and to query a new project. Let's see. So I think we answered that question. I just want to check my emails since those were sent in. I wanted to make sure I did check those. All right, we talked about Mailchimp. All right, and then a question we had from Kate was about, are pre-sales worth doing? So pre-sales of a book, typically I've got a couple of reasons for doing a pre-sale. I think that don't just do a pre-sale for no reason. If you're going to do a pre-sale, make sure you have intention behind it. So if you intend to submit to professional reviewers, you intend to submit to Publishers Weekly and Kirkus and Library Journal, I recommend you have your book up on pre-sale prior to pitching them. It gives it tangibility. It makes your book look more professional. And I believe you're more likely to get a professional review if you do so. So I would do a pre-sale of the paperback and ebook if you are intending to query for professional reviews. If you are not doing that, it doesn't matter as much. I'd say pre-sale is definitely helpful if you have a series, because pre-sale allows you time to let your readers of the previous books in the series to know the book is coming out, to grab interest. And as you are marketing book one, you're kind of capturing the attention of them through to the new book. So I do think that's helpful. And I do think that if you are trying to build up a buzz, it can be very helpful. Now, if you're going to put a pre-sale up and not do a darn thing with it, and there's no reason for it, then you're kind of just letting it sit on the sales pages, which isn't going to help your algorithm. So I wouldn't do that. But if you are going to market it, if you're going to do a discount, maybe you're going to put up your pre-sale for 99 cents. You're going to let your newsletter know and social media know that the ebook is up at 99 cents for pre-sale. They can buy it now. And then after launch day, it's going to go up to its normal price of $4.99 or $9.99. That makes sense because you're using it for something. But don't just put it up to put it up and do nothing with it. And how long a pre-sale should happen really depends on you. If you are pushing for professional reviews, that means the pre-sale is typically up for 4 to 6 months, because that's how long it takes to pitch for those reviews, and they need that extra time. So again, it depends on you and what you intend to do with it, but don't throw a pre-sale up for no reason. You will most likely regret that down the road. I'm getting persistent phone calls on my first trilogy, which already has been published over and over. Is this ever a good thing? It's mostly spam and scam, which we talked about some last week. A lot of it is just spammers and scammers. And so I would not jump on that. If you didn't show interest first and contact them, and someone's asking you to invest money into a new publishing or marketing or something, in this book or this series has not traditionally done well, or has not gotten like a big bump in sales or anything like that, I would typically ignore those and move on. And always do your research of any company that's asking to market your book, especially if they contact you. If you have the maximum limit of 500 subscribers on Mailchimp, can you get another 500 on Mailerlite, and so on and so forth? Technically, I guess you could. The problem there would be you'd be running 2 mailing lists. So you'd have 2 collection spots and 2 mailing lists that you'd have to duplicate. And eventually you're going to run out of programs for that. So you could, but I think that's probably creating more of a problem than it would actually benefit. So technically, I think you could. Would I personally? I wouldn't. But you can certainly do it. I mean, I don't see anything that will keep you from doing it. I don't think any of their terms would keep you from using more than one mailing system. It's just double the work, and eventually you're going to grow out of it. So there's something to consider there. All right, you guys, I think I answered all the questions for today and all of our emails. So I think we kind of got through it. We'll be back here next Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you have questions we didn't cover or something that comes up over the week, feel free to just email it in, info@newshelves.com. I save those emails up and answer them on Fridays, or of course you can join us live by coming back to newshelves.com/FAF. Thank you for joining me this week. I hope we see you next week, and have a great weekend. Bye.